Hey everybody, welcome back. So we're going to continue with our foundation skills. It looks like we've made 14% complete. So I think today we're setting up an installation overview. So the first step for building any website is having the right tools. For us, that means setting up a development environment for writing good code. Many online development courses use in-browser code such as sandboxes, which give you the tools and programs needed to accomplish the task at hand and nothing else. You'll use some of these sandboxes throughout the early stages of the Odin Project since they're great for getting started quickly. However, the best way is to set up for long-term success is to operate a real development environment. Absolutely. We won't lie to you, installing packages, editors, and even entire operating systems can be frustrating. However, having the experience of setting up a development environment and to run code you'll write is invaluable. Real-world skills will carry with you the rest of your career. And I totally agree with this. This is the reason I just got this new computer, so I could do this in an authentic way of actually coming out with a new machine. Whereas if I were to try to go through this with my old machine, all that stuff would already be installed and I wouldn't know exactly what I was missing out on. So the installation plan. The following sections will go over the steps for setting up your environment. There is no need to install anything in this lesson. This is an informative lesson. The sections are most important steps in the entire curriculum. Please take the extra time to double check what you're typing, or you may cause more headaches for yourself down the road. In the first few lessons, we will walk through these installation steps together. Installing a supported OS, installing Google Chrome web browser, installing a code editor, creating SSH key, a personal password that will identify you to GitHub, Heroku, and many other sites you'll be using. Okay, and that operating system one just went to here. We've already gone over this in previous ones, but it's essentially, if you're using Mac OS, then you're using the Mac operating system, and then there's Windows, and then there's also a handful of other Linux-based ones. At the end of the next lessons, you'll be running with many of the tools you'll need to write and run code. It may seem like a lot of steps, but we'll get through them as painlessly as possible together. If anything goes wrong, remember to use these steps. Examine the terminal output for the actual error, Google, and never be afraid to ask for help. And this is probably a link to the Discord group. Cool. For Chromebook users, your OS choice has effectively been made for you. However, if your device supports the Linux beta, there are instructions in the next lesson on how to set up your device. So OS options. Mac OS. If you're using Mac, you're in great shape. The Odin Project instructions assume a Unix-based system. By installing just a few programs, you'll be up and running. Okay, so that's the first option. The next one would be Linux. I'm not even going to go over this because this is just straight up for the Mac system, and I can't reproduce any of the challenges that would happen with this. Setting up a virtual machine in a Windows, that's just not something I know about, and it's not something I'm really interested in. So sorry, Linux and Windows users, but we're going to stick with the Mac OS directions. So yes, here it says, are you concerned about installing a new OS? Whoa, I like my OS just fine the way it is. If you don't have an Apple computer, you're likely using Windows. Don't worry, these options above don't mean you need to get rid of Windows. Linux will gladly share the hard drive with Windows. We know you've probably learned a lot of tips and tricks. However, most OSs are developed with non-technical folks in mind, so they hide or make it difficult to use many languages in the frameworks we'll need to install. Okay, cool. And so I'm not actually going to go over this because this is all about installing a new OS, and we're not doing that because we're using Mac computers. So yeah, it looks like there's no additional resources. Okay, so this was a real quick one, because if you're using a Mac computer, this program is default set up to work with you. Whereas if you're doing Linux or this Windows systems, these are going to require some other things to watch these videos. I know you can set up virtual machines on Windows machines, or on Mac machines. So maybe we'll do that in the future. But for the most part, this was a quick and easy one because we are using Mac computers. And sorry for everyone that's doing the Windows machines, but if you follow these instructions, I'm sure you both figure it out. So mark it as complete. Awesome. Thanks. And we'll see you guys in the next lesson.